Well, when it rains, it pours, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely devastating news for the San Francisco 49ers to add insult to injury after losing yesterday's NFC Championship game 31-7 to the Philadelphia Eagles. It was announced today that starting quarterback, Mr. Irrelevant, more like Mr. Relevant, the 7-0 going into this game, Brock Purdy, the Phenom, has torn his UCL ligament in his right throwing elbow. Absolutely disastrous news. We're looking at a very long timetable for his return, 6+ months. He's gonna get a second opinion, but things are not looking good for them. I mean, the San Francisco 49ers feels like they're always really, really close, but they can never quite get over the hump. Something disastrous always happens to them. Honestly, you're starting to feel bad for them at this point, and now they're at a major crossroads as a franchise. I'm going to break down everything going on with the story, give you my 2 cents on the whole situation. But if you could first, drop a quick like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already. New videos every single weekday. All right, let's get into it. I'm going to power through this video. I'm feeling a little bit under the weather. I got a certain virus, if you know what I'm talking about. But this was an absolutely terrible set of circumstances for the 49ers. On their first drive of the game in the first quarter of the NFC Championship game, quarterback Brock Purdy took a real nasty shot from Hassan Reddick coming around the right side. He ends up tearing his UCL ligament in his right throwing elbow. I mean, let's just look at this play.
Third down. Well, one of the biggest matchups of the day here is who's going to be able to block Hassan Reddick. This time, they're trying to block him with Croft, the tight end, and listen, it's hard to block Hassan Reddick. There's something going on here on the sidelines. They're challenging it.
And as you can see right there, just kind of an awkward hit. He hits his arm before he gets the ball going forward. Then he ends up hitting the ball forward. It was ruled a fumble. But first of all, Shanahan, why are you having a tight end block one of the elite pass rushers in the game, at least that's left in the playoffs? Hassan Reddick's been on a tear this postseason. He's been on a tear most of the season. So coach is always getting too cute. But besides that, Purdy ended up leaving the game. Josh Johnson came in to fill in for him, but then he left with a concussion. Purdy came back out there, tried to grind it out, tried to grit it out. I give him a lot of credit for that. Really couldn't do anything. Obviously, this was the worst case scenario for the Niners. They were hoping it was just a slight damage, maybe a nerve issue. He is going to seek and get a second opinion on this elbow, they're saying. They're looking at maybe just get reconstruction and not full Tommy John. This is a Tommy John surgery. So if they got to totally repair this thing, he could be out. They said at least 6 months. Not quite sure the full timetable for a quarterback injury. For pitchers, it's over a year. I imagine it's less that for an NFL quarterback. But absolutely devastating news for a team that's been to the NFC Championship game back-to-back seasons. They don't have a quarterback on their roster, really. I mean, what are the Niners going to do? Mr. Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, Brock, was the last pick in the draft. Kind of came out of nowhere. Now, obviously, Shanahan saw something in him to keep him on the roster, cutting veteran Nick Mullins off the team and letting him go. So he saw something in Purdy. Could it have been just a flash in the pan? He was 7-0. He was pretty good. He wasn't elite. And this is just really, really unfortunate. Jimmy G, always injured, but he's a free agent, so he's gone. He's going to get a fresh start somewhere else. And now this leaves Trey Lance, who got injured in week 2, broke his ankle. Really, really tough look for him. And he has not been good in the games we've seen from him. We haven't seen anything elite from Trey Lance. I mean, they traded 3 first-round picks to go get Lance, and there were reports they were committed. Brock Purdy was going to be the starting quarterback moving into next season, but now this really muddies things up. But good God, San Francisco, what is going on? Is it this offense with Shanahan? Is it their training staff? Is it their strength and conditioning? I feel like they have more guys on the IL than anybody every single year. Running backs, defensive ends, quarterbacks. Everybody's getting hurt in San Francisco. What is going on up there? You really need to take a look into it. I mean, but like, let's look at Trey Lance's stats. They're so bad. It's really kind of crazy. So he's had 4 starts in his career. He's 2-2. Not good. He's only got a 54.9 completion percentage, 3 picks, 5 touchdowns. Not good at all. I mean, these are just so underwhelming numbers for a guy you traded 3 first-round picks for, and he was in year 2. Now, I know he got hurt, but he looked terrible in that Bears game. The weather was really bad, but he just hasn't looked good. So I don't know what you do if you're San Francisco moving forward. You don't have a quarterback. You don't have a steady roster really around it. It's just such an awkward situation for them, especially if Purdy's reevaluations are they can't get him back in time. He's out at least 6 months. I mean, where does that put them? That puts them in the middle of August training camp, assuming it's more. Probably not ready for September. And he was mystery relevant for a reason. He needs to get these reps in. He needs to get throws in. And it's his throwing elbow. That's the real problem. If it was his non-throwing arm, we'd be okay here. Not that big of a deal. It's so important for a young player to get the reps, get the throws in, work with his receiving core, and it just takes time. It's all about repetition in the NFL when especially you're at quarterback. So this is a really tough spot for the 49ers to find themselves in. I hope they get this thing figured out, but let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Should they stick with Purdy, cross their fingers, grind it out, take the risk, or do you roll with Trey Lance? I know they were talking about trading Trey Lance, but I don't think you can do that at this point. But let me know what you guys think. Again, like this video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, share this video with your friends, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.